Yo, 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 what's up, my wrestling peeps? It's your boy E here, the host of the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast. Thank you for tuning into my show, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. We have a great show for you today. We're going to start off with a little bit of a, NXT review. What happened was a pretty big Tuesday night for NXT. So we're going to jump into that. We also have AEW Dynamite happening, and we also, have the talk of, we have the buzz of the professional wrestling talk, basically, the scope. Tonight, I guess AEW is planning to air footage of CM Punk feuding with another superstar that ultimately led to him getting fired, which is kind of controversial because CM Punk is now a really highly paid WWE superstar. So that should be interesting to dive into. And just kind of capping it all off, the last two segments, we're going to talk about AEW and their declining viewership, as well as the kind of like a downward spiral for the promotion. Like, I hope it doesn't go away. That's not my wish. And, of course, I'm like at first I was a WWE/WWF fan, but I like AEW. I like WCW. I think competition makes you better. It puts out a better product. It, kind of strives you to kind of, deep into your bag of creativity and kind of produce something that's good for the crowd. So, I'm hoping that that really works out for AEW. Then we're gonna finish it off. If the worst comes worse, if somehow AEW kind of goes under, they have the WWE to kind of go to, and with the upcoming WWE draft, I'm gonna kind of go through some AEW slash Ring of Honor slash Impact Wrestling stars that could probably make a pretty good killing in the WWE with my pass or draft segment. So before we get into it, we get a number of viewers. Get a number of questions from the viewers that come in during the shows. So to ensure that your question gets read on air, I ask you to use the tips or donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net with your questions. This puts your questions up on top so that I can see it. We can have a nice little back and forth conversation. Last time I had a podcast, I had somebody comment on how Nathan Fraser of NXT kind of reminds him of Seth Rollins, and we talked about that. I talked about that, and obviously, I hope he was on the other side of it. But it was really super cool. I really love it when fans reach out and stuff like that. Like, that's dope. Like, that's super dope. And it really helps the show, guys. A positive review can go a long way. Kind gestures lead to other kind gestures, and all in all, make the world a way better place. So it really helps the show, guys. Peace, love, and positivity, baby. Again, the link is the GSMCpodcast.net. So, all right, let's go ahead and get on into it. We're going to go ahead and talk about our first segment, which is dun, 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 WWE NXT review. All in all, it was a pretty dope show. It was pretty cool, especially as a wrestling fan. Like, I liked it because of uh, you know they're kind of like the backbone of what WWE is kind of going to be. It's kind of like the reason why, if you're a college student, you apply to FAFSA and you get grants for your education. It's because they invest in you. They think that, like, pretty soon, obviously, the guys, higher ups and everybody, from CEOs to like employers at like a Jack in the Box, or et cetera, et cetera. You're kind of like the future of what this country's going to be, going to rely on, and so that's why they want people to be educated. That's why they want to offer people, a chance at equality in terms of education, or or equity. But all in all, this is kind of what NXT is. NXT is the future of the WWE, and I'm with it. A lot of good superstars. So WWE NXT kicked off with Roxanne Perez introducing herself as the new WWE Women's NXT Championship. She's kind of gone over, the cliff, so to speak. She is so heel right now. She's absolutely turning heel, and I believe she already demanded well, not demanded, but she already, let the people know that she is eligible for the WWE draft coming up on the this month on the 26th and the 29th. So it's going to be interesting to see what she does with the title, which was kind of like what this episode of WWE NXT was kind of profound on. She kind of hinted at relinquishing the title, saying that no women in WWE NXT could possibly dethrone her or take the title away from her. And then, of course, Lyra Valkyrie came out with an arm sling and stuff, and it was kind of heartbreaking. I was like, oh, poor Lyra. But, you should have never accepted that match, bro. You had a chance, got too cocky. It was your fault. Don't blame anybody else for your faults. It's your fault, man. It's your fault. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sorry. If Lyra Valkyrie was to ever watch this podcast, I would want her to know that she failed. I'm just kidding. No, no. Anyways, so she confronted Roxanne ultimately, and you had Tatum Paxley come out, and you thought, oh my god, like you have her best friend coming out, kind of like a protege of Lyra Valkyrie, and then she threw her against the steps. Classic WWE attitude adjustment. You can attitude there. You can see Shawn Michaels, his creativity, his work, and his ideologies behind this promo, where you kind of had Paxley destroy her former friend, which they've been kind of hinting at, foreshadowing for the past couple of weeks on NXT. So I kind of saw this and I was like, yep, saw this coming. It's sad the person with the arm sling didn't see it coming, because obviously, you could have came back and fought, faster and stronger, but Lord only knows, when she's coming back. But, well, despite ripping on Lyra Valkyrie and her, misconnection and just kind of failing to engage the situation. Especially when, obviously if you're hurt, kind of like what Seth Rollins did. What Seth Rollins did, he accepted a match, a grueling tag team match with The Rock and Roman Reigns. He teamed with Cody Rhodes, but ultimately, like, bro, you put that much strenuous on yourself, like, and then you have to defend your championship the next night, dude. Guess what? Not gonna happen. And lo and behold, now you had Drew McIntyre defeat him, and now you have Damian Priest sitting on top of that stoop. So you know kind of sucks for him, but so Natalya came out and ultimately wanted a shot at a Roxanne Perez's championship. Roxanne Perez, of course, she denied. She's like, you don't get a shot, like this and that and the other. And then Ava, the NXT champion, who's been actually really like high on the WWE NXT women's division, kind of being the backbone, which has honestly, it kind of really has been. I really don't remember watching a wrestling promotion, if it was WCW, ECW, WWE/WWF, and seeing this many women's matches. Like, the women's matches are far outweighing the men's matches. Like, and it's crazy and it's cool. Kudos to them. That's awesome. They deserve like that kind of recognition, despite a whole era of not being appreciated and underpaid. But so you had Natalya coming out, and I kind of think Natalya is probably going to take the strap to kind of hold the WWE NXT Women's Division. She went like, obviously you need like a Hall of Famer or a really really seasoned veteran to go into the company and kind of work hand in hand with new talent, kind of bringing them up. Kind of like what I can imagine, like Shawn and Triple H talking to Natalya, obviously part of the Hart Foundation, the Hart family, and being like, look, like, you kind of need to, you want the moment to shine. This is your time to shine. Like, you can help younger superstars, come up through the company, and forever you will be known as like the best women trainer like ever. And that's, she can get inducted into the Hall of Fame. She's probably already in in talks of being uh, officially inducted into the Hall of Fame, probably within the next, couple of years. So that's exciting for Natalya. And then you had Javon Evans, a 19-year-old high-flying guy who has been shocking the world of NXT. I can see him challenging. Oh, but that Obafemi, man, that guy. You can't just beat that guy. Like, I don't know if he's going to be into. I think WWE Speed, which airs exclusively on X. I believe it's you have the WWE NXT, WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, kind of all mixed into one. You kind of have all these high flyers. So maybe he'll make a killing in that. I believe he'll make a killing in that. Absolutely. Like, you have obviously my pick to be the champion is Ricochet, but this young guy, man, he's only 19 years old. That's insane. And he's like stepping up to the pressure. He's killing it, and he's leaving Jaws down to the floor as he picks up his win week after week. So, good for Evans there. He said, and I quote, that life, what it's all about, it's family, friends, and having fun. That's like the best mentality to have. If you're ever stressed out at work, or if you're ever like, stuck in one of those binds, or if you had like, I don't know, because life happens. Life happens. You go through these trials. And what you kind of reflect on, like, kind of what you put your backbone on is friends and family, and then you kind of just try to take life one day at a time. Of course, you want to get the most fun out of life, but sometimes days are bad, and sometimes it's not fun. But you shouldn't ultimately give up. And I believe like you can see the encouragement and the enthusiasm and the charisma that this guy Evans holds. And you can see it, perpetuated in his matches. So, that's pretty cool. Next, you had Ridge Holland, backstage with a promo saying he regretted attacking Joe Gacy, but everybody in the back, including the LWO, was like, "Oh, we're not buying this apology tour. We're not doing, Are you really? Are you really taking a step away from NXT for your family and for your wife, and to mitigate any complications in terms of your personal relationships, romantic relationships, et cetera, et cetera?" And he was kind of put on the spot, and I kind of felt bad for Ridge because, like, he closed the the door on the hand of Wild, and I was like, oh my god, like it was one of those things where, like, if you saw it in a movie, you'd be like, man, what a jerk. But in reality, you're like, damn, like who know? He came back and he was like, oh my god, like why does this keep happening? Like, but all in all, I think that I'm glad to see Rich Holland back on NXT. At first, I was kind of afraid of him like really having troubles at home and stuff like that. Right now, I'm kind of believe like not not completely. I would say probably like 75 to 25% clear that this was kind of like a, part of the storyline, which is cool. You never want to find out one of your favorite wrestlers are having personal, dramas or, anything like anything at home, so that, obviously I hope the best for Rich Holland. So during the match, Lola Vice screws Natalya. During the promo, Natalya attacks Lola Vice. Lola Vice says that, you can't wait for your opportunity. You kind of have to do it yourself, and she did that. She was able to do that. She was able to attack Natalya, kind of not inserting herself into the NXT Women's World Championship title picture just yet, but I don't know if anything's gonna do it. It's gonna be this. Imagine a triple threat match or a fatal four-way match, including Roxanne Perez, Valkyrie, Natalya, and Lola Vice for that championship before the draft. So, it should be interesting to find out when it comes to that. You had the North Quarter Catch crew against the family, the Don, Tony D'Angelo, ultimately coming up short at NXT Stand and Deliver. Couldn't fend off the Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, but ultimately, I think that WWE NXT should kind of continue promoting this family, this Italian, like kind of it's entertaining. Absolutely, it's entertaining as to watch as a fan. I can imagine like any Italians out there that are like, oh, it's cool, like you kind of see like your culture on screen, kind of thing like that. Like I know, like it might be like stereotypical and stuff like that. But hey, I think WWE's trying to like bring in like new fans or something like that. So, obviously, I hope nobody is offended by those stereotypes you see on the NXT, um, week after week. But I don't know. I think it's pretty. I like the D'Angelo family kind of doing what they're doing, and I can see them prosper in NXT from this moment forward. So should be pretty cool. Next, you had Ivar challenge Obafemi for the WWE NXT North American Championship. This was kind of cool because you kind of saw Ivar like kind of come out of being the Viking Raider and kind of showing his mic skills a little bit because you never really see him talking. He's coming to the ring with Valhalla. He always had his boy Eric, and you kind of see him kind of being sprouted out officially as a singles wrestler. Like I know like he's been wrestling singles wrestling for a long time, but he's always kind of came out as like the Viking Raiders with Valhalla, and it was more or less kind of like, oh, Ivar's forced to fight alone because he lost his tag team partner due to injury. Him coming out kind of right now, you kind of now you're kind of forced to acknowledge him as a singles competitor, let alone him coming down from WWE Raw to the NXT brand. So he's for a big guy, he can move. He can move. He's kind of like that Samoa Joe kind of thing. He's kind of like that. Like even Umaga could run. Like Rikishi was fast too. Like all these guys, although they may be big, these guys are faster than the speed of light, man. So don't underestimate them. I can imagine. I can see Ivar picking up the victory and finally to be the one to dethrone Obafemi. So, I'm super excited to see what they do with that. Next, you had Nathan Fraser and Axiom with their backs against the wall, were forced to split up if they did not win tonight against the Wolf Dogs. Ultimately, they did, and that's huge. That's absolutely huge for Axiom and Fraser, and also for the Wolf Dogs, Baron Corbin and Braun Breaker, because this kind of I don't know if they're going to be I don't know if they're going to be consumed by the draft and be drafted to Raw or SmackDown as singles competitors, which I would love, or they take the WWE Raw or SmackDown tag team division by storm and stay tag teams as they get drafted, which would be absolutely awesome. So, honestly, I thought this was a good move by WWE Creative, and I think it's just going to get better from here on out. But ultimately, the final testament came out at the end of the match. You saw Karrion Kross with Scarlett, and then you had AOP, make their debut back to WWE NXT, where they absolutely killed it for the longest time. And, attack Nathan Fraser and Axiom, kind of signifying that they're going to be the ones to, challenge for the NXT World Tag Team Championships next. So, and if to kick it up to, end this segment all off, we got Trick Williams. He did a promo where he challenged Ilya Dragunov for the WWE NXT World Championship. Dragunov agreed. Well, at first he disagreed. And then he agreed, saying that if Trick Williams can't beat him at during the title match, he has to, he's out of WWE NXT. And ultimately, Trick Williams was like, well, obviously, if I can't beat you, I can't beat the best, so I don't deserve to be at WWE NXT. And they shook hands, and I think Carmelo Hayes came out, and he, of course, that snake. But no, no, he came out and he attacked Trick Williams. Williams, this episode of WWE NXT, wasn't able to whoop that trick. But I believe ultimately that he will defeat Carmelo Hayes, because Carmelo Hayes challenged him to a cage match, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But and obviously Ilya is trying to kind of kind of beat him down, kind of get him nice and soft. So he loses, and Trick Williams is never going to be able to fight in WWE NXT again. But ultimately, like I said, Dragunov is coming to the main brand, Raw or SmackDown, during the draft in 2 weeks. So why not have Trick Williams win the championship? Trick Williams is electric. I love Trick Williams. He's really over with the fans right now. Obviously, if I'm like totally talking about him right now, he must be a big deal, right? No, I'm just kidding. But no, he's really talented. He's really athletic, and he has what it takes to support a brand like WWE NXT. So I see big things for Trick Williams coming up. All right, moving on. Our next segment, we're going to talk about AEW Dynamite, just a couple of the matches, and kind of like the drama that's going on in the professional wrestling world about them airing CM Punk's brawl, which ultimately caused them to get fired. So hey, let's dive on into it.